আইডিয়াসি ও আপনার সম্পর্ক ঠিক এমনই। ৩৫ বছর ধরে সহজ অর্থায়নের মাধ্যমে আমরা অনেক স্বপ্নকে উড়িয়েছি আকাশে, সমৃদ্ধ হয়েছি একসাথে।
হঠাৎ করে এমন ভুল হতেই পারে, আর সেই ভুল শুধরানোর জন্য জিসকা ফার্মার পিউলি 5 দিনের মধ্যে একটা পিল খেয়ে নিলেই অনাকাঙ্ক্ষিত প্রেগন্যান্সির ঝুঁকি আর থাকবে না। পিউলি 5 দিন পর্যন্ত কার্যকর ইমার্জেন্সি কন্ট্রাসেপটিভ পিল। সেন্সেশন ক্লাসিক ও স্ট্রবেরি ভ্যারিয়েন্টে।
মিনিটে মিনিটে ক্যাশব্যাক।
As a batsman, when you do spend time in the middle, you start to grow in confidence. Whether that has not been the case, then you've got to give credit to Bangladesh. You've got to give credit to the bowlers, the way they maintain the consistency in line and length, and the spinners. Especially today. Something different. The windies.
বেমরা না আমি দিতে জানি।
He's played that against the spin. Now the fielder goes back. Certainly the element of risk in that shot. Yes, he picked up a boundary, but he was trying to take on Shakib Al Hasan, playing it on the onside. And had it turned a bit, he would have been in all sorts of trouble. That's well bowled. Beautifully bowled.
Going back to the shot, I think it's also important to express yourself as a batsman. Yes, you are playing your first or second international game here, but you are capable enough. That's why you have been picked in the international side. Yes, it's a tough situation, but the more you express yourself, if you can absorb those pressure, it can allow you to play your own game. And the more they expose themselves in tough situations, the more they get adapt to the international cricket as well. Dot ball to end the over. West Indies 105 for 8.
মিনিটে মিনিটে ক্যাশব্যাক। বিল বিকাশ করলেই প্রতি মিনিটে প্রথম জন পাচ্ছেন 100 টাকা ক্যাশব্যাক। তাই বিদ্যুৎ, পানি, গ্যাস সহ সব ধরনের বিল আজই বিকাশ করুন।
ভীষণ কুড়মুড়ে গোলমার্ক পপস বিস্কুট, একটু জায়গা বুঝে খান।
ব্যাংকে নয়, ঘরে বসেই খুলে ফেলুন সিটি ব্যাংক অ্যাকাউন্ট। ডাউনলোড করুন এখনই অ্যাকাউন্ট অ্যাপ আর দিয়ে দিন প্রয়োজনীয় কিছু তথ্য। ব্যাস হয়ে গেল আপনার ব্যাংক অ্যাকাউন্ট।
চকলেটের পুরো কোটিং এর ভিতর আইসক্রিম বার আর ক্যারামেল রিপল। লাভালো চকো ব্লাস্ট, ভিতরে উথাল পাথাল।
কোয়ালিটি আর টেস্টে ভরসা একটাই, বিস ক্লাব ড্রাই কেক। এমন সুইট মানুষদের জন্য ট্রিট হোক প্রতিদিন পিওর মিল্ক আর রিয়েল চকলেটের সুইটনেস মুখে থাকুক সারাক্ষণ। ট্রিট ইউ ডিজার্ভ।
ইমিউন সিস্টেম ভালো রাখতে চাই প্রতিদিন খেলাধুলা আর চাই স্বাস্থ্যকর ভালো খাবার, যে ভালোটা নিশ্চিত করছে টেস্টি সল্ট মুক্ত স্কোয়ারের চপস্টিক ইনস্ট্যান্ট নুডলস।
Well, it might just have pitched outside the leg stump. It did quite a lot after it pitched. Beautifully bowled.
Trademark Mustafizur Rahman cutter. He's having a great time there, enjoying at the middle, smiles all around, and why not? Fast bowler outfoxing the batsman, and that's the cutter. What a ball, what a bowler he is. Getting into his groove again.
He looks to be his old self, where he troubled the batsman right from the word go. Again the cutter on a slower side. Had a bit of a chat earlier on before the match, and he was very pleased that he has started to see the ball coming back into the right-handers. Very happy, looked really fresh. Had a bit of a problem earlier on due to injuries. He missed quite a lot of match, but he's come back in great form. Was the highest wicket taker in the T20 competition earlier on. And these are the signs which shows that yes, if you can have your best bowlers in pristine condition, then you're going to be successful not only at home but also overseas. Fantastic to see Mustafizur Rahman back in this sort of a form. Right. These two batsmen have experience, Mazhar. 36 and 30 ODIs in between them. They've got to make sure that the bat try to bat till the 50th over. Not going to be easy, but you've got to keep trying and have that self-belief.
Not easy when you have the best bowler of the team bowling at his best with those cutters around him, and there's a short gully there for in catching position. Watch out for those cutters.
Yeah, good batting, good running. He knew the run was on the moment he hit that. Now he's bowled beautifully. He bowled beautifully in the first ODI. He picked up an early wicket, Mustafizur Rahman. It was a smart catch and a very strange kind of field set, and it worked in his favour. Just opened up the batsman, Sunil Lambrace, and a smart catch by Mediasan Miraj at point. And it always lifts up a bowler when he starts picking up wickets early on. Lifts up the spirit of the team, and you start to grow in confidence. Now the field comes in for Joseph. Mid on, D. Skrulek also inside the circle. Very good over. Neat. Just a single in that over. 1 of 6 for 8. And times for good.
কনস্ট্রাকশন স্টিল তৈরিতে জিপিএইচ কোয়ান্টাম প্রযুক্তি কেন বিশ্বসেরা? কারণ জিপিএইচ কোয়ান্টাম প্রযুক্তি দিয়ে কন্টিনিউয়াস কাস্টিং মেশিন থেকে শতভাগ পরিশোধিত বিলেট সম্পূর্ণ স্বয়ংক্রিয় কোয়েঞ্চিং পদ্ধতিতে প্রতিটি স্টিল রিবারে ইউনিফর্ম মার্টেনসাইড রিং গঠন নিশ্চিত করে। ফলে রিবারে ইউনিফর্ম স্ট্রেংথ, সুপিরিয়র ডাক্টিলিটি ও হাইয়েস্ট বেন্ডেবিলিটি অক্ষুণ্ণ থাকে। বিশ্বসেরা পিওর অ্যান্ড ক্লিন জিপিএইচ কোয়ান্টাম কনস্ট্রাকশন স্টিল।
এই নে ওর জন্য সবচেয়ে পারফেক্ট ডায়াপার, এসএমসির স্মাইল বেবি ডায়াপার।
সুপার চিল টেকনোলজি থাকায় সাধারণ ডায়াপারের চেয়ে অধিক শোষণ ক্ষমতা সম্পন্ন স্মাইল বেবি ডায়াপার। ওর হাসি সবচেয়ে দামি।
ক্ষুধার আগুন নেভাতে মজাদার স্বাদে অল টাইম ফ্যামিলি কেক। ক্ষুধাকে গুড বাই।
বেশি ইন্টারনেটে এখন হবে বেশি বেশি অনলাইন ক্লাস। 129 টাকায় 11 জিবি আর 114 টাকায় 7 জিবি ইন্টারনেট। বাংলা লিংক।
এলো দারুণ মশলাগুলোর এক্সাইটিং মিশ্রণে তৈরি ম্যাগি মশালা ব্লাস্ট।
লাইফে প্লাস 2 মিনিট যা
ম্যাগি খুশির রেসিপি
ফ্রম নেসলে
কিছু সম্পর্কে মিষ্টি ম্যাজিক ভুলিয়ে দেয় দূরত্বের লেয়ার, ঠিক যেমন দুধ আর চকলেটে একাকার হয়ে ওঠা ব্রাউন লেয়ার। সম্পর্কের মিষ্টি ম্যাজিক।
আমার মতো আপনারাও জানেন ডায়রিয়া সহ যে কোনো পানি শূন্যতা। আমার রাস্তা এসএমসি রোড স্যালাইন কেনার সময় ব্যাকের গায়ে এসএমসি লোগো দেখে কিনবেন।
এসএমসির ওরসালাইনে দেশের সবচেয়ে বেশি সংখ্যক ব্যাংক থেকে নিয়ে সিকিউরিটি প্রোভাইড কনফিডেন্স যা পরিবহন
from Nestle.
দেশের জন্য একযোগে কাজ করুন, বার্তা ছড়িয়ে দিন ইন্টারনেটের শক্তিতে। মেরিল মিল্ক সোপ বার এবং মেরিল মিল্ক অ্যান্ড ডেইলি সোপ বারের কম্বো প্যাক এখন 10 টাকা কম, মাত্র 90 টাকা।
সাবধানে করো,
এসব কত করছি ধরো।
এক্সপার্টদের কাজ এক্সপার্ট দিয়ে করাই ভালো। এই নিন এক্সপার্ট প্লায়ার, এক্সপার্ট হার্ডওয়্যার টুলস। যন্ত্র অনেক, মন্ত্র একটাই। আনারসের দারুণ স্বাদে রিস ক্লাব দিচ্ছে ফ্রুট ফান ক্রিম বিস্কুট। ভালো খান, ভালো থাকুন।
মিনিটে মিনিটে ক্যাশব্যাক। বিল বিকাশ করলেই প্রতি মিনিটে প্রথম জন পাচ্ছেন 100 টাকা ক্যাশব্যাক। তাই বিদ্যুৎ, পানি, গ্যাস সহ সব ধরনের বিল আজই বিকাশ করুন।
ফ্রাইডেতে শ্রিম্প ম্যাগি, স্যাটারডেতে ভেজিমাল, মঙ্গল বুধ বৃহস্পতি সুপি এক টমিয়াম, সানডে মানডে ম্যাগি চিকেন।
ম্যাগি মানে ভিন্ন স্বাদে প্রতিদিন।
from Nestle. Sensation classic ও স্ট্রবেরি ভ্যারিয়েন্টে।
হ্যাট্রিক বিস্কুটে আপনি পাচ্ছেন অরেঞ্জ এবং মিল্ক ফ্লেভারের দুটো ক্রিমি হ্যাট্রিক বিস্কুট।
উপ্রা স্পিড টেস্ট অ্যাওয়ার্ডের স্বীকৃতিতে বাংলালিংক এখন বাংলাদেশের ফাস্টেস্ট মোবাইল নেটওয়ার্ক। ফুল স্পিড 4G তে সব হবে ফুল স্পিডে।
For Bangladesh. After a long layoff, once again Shakib Al Hasan has proved he's missed nothing. He's been deadly with the ball, picked up the player of the match in the previous match, and once again showing the kind of class he has to offer. Oh, beautifully bowled, get a slip in place.
He has worked hard recently before returning to international cricket. Back at the BKSP, he worked with his coaches, worked on his bowling, tried something different. And I think these are the situations.
Got to find ways to rotate the strike. That was on the shorter side, so easy pickings. One of 7 for 8. Bit of a partnership between these two. 19 of 30. And they've got to keep on going and ensure the try to bat till the very end. He goes down the wicket, and once again he's eyed that onside area, and a couple of bounces to the fence. The second boundary, second IPDC boundary from the bat of Joseph.
It's the positive intent again. Dragging that from outside the off stump. He knew the mid-on fielder was up at the circle. He uses his feet really well and launched onto it. And that is confidence. He had to reach for it. Still manages to go through the line and play against the spin. Shakib Al Hasan may be thinking, I could have get one. Good comeback from the experienced campaigner. Dot ball. To end the over, West Indies 1-1-1 for 8.
ট্রাভেলে ক্ষুধার মজাদার আর হেলদি সমাধান মিস্টার নুডলসের কাপ নুডলস, স্বাদ নাও ভালোবাসার।
কলেজ নুডলে ক্লাস করবি কেমনে?
দেশ জুড়ে শিক্ষার আলো পৌঁছে দেওয়া চাইলেই সম্ভব। বিস্তৃত 4G নেটওয়ার্ক নিয়ে পাশে আছি আমরা, গ্রামীণ ফোন।
এমন সুইট মানুষদের জন্য ট্রিট হোক প্রতিদিন পিওর মিল্ক আর রিয়েল চকলেটের সুইটনেস, মুখে থাকুক সারাক্ষণ। ট্রিট ইউ ডিজার্ভ।
রান্নার ভিডিও অথবা রেসিপি ও খাবার সহ রিয়েলিটি শোয়ে জিতুন 15 লক্ষ টাকা। এলো দারুণ মশলাগুলোর এক্সাইটিং মিশ্রণে তৈরি ম্যাগি মশালা ব্লাস্ট।
লাইফে ব্লাস্ট 2 মিনিট জাস্ট।
ম্যাগি।
And these are the players who carry the team on their shoulders. Whenever there is trouble, one of them tries to outperform the others and ensure that they come back in the game with the bang. He played a very crucial knock, Tamim Iqbal, in the first ODI. Difficult pitch to bat on. Got 40 odd. Mushfiqur Rahim has been excellent with the bat. Mr. Dependable. West Indies need to find players like these. And you can't find them straight away. You've got to have that self-belief on the players where they believe that, yes, out of this slot, maybe 2, maybe 3, or even more can turn out to be a really good ones. The future prospect. Not an easy job to do. It's all up to the players to show some kind of signs to prove a point that, yes, I belong in this league. I belong at the top level to be a part of the team. Good run. Very, very good run. Have a look at Mustafizur Rahman, the first ODI when he bowled to Amherst. Have a look at that ball just coming back into the right-hander. And even today, that one just went straight with the arm. Beautifully bowled. And you can feel that vibe. You can feel that as a bowler, when you start to see that ball coming back to the right-handers, it's such a beautiful feeling for the bowler, especially if you're a left-hander seamer. Single taken again. Fielder pushed back.
I think both the batsmen adapted really well to face Mustafizur Rahman. They're trying to cut the angle. If you notice their stance, trying to open up the shoulders and waiting for the ball not to create that angle. Cut the angle and went for the shot. It's important when you face a left-arm seamer who tends to get away from you, from the right-hander. You need to open up your shoulder. Good job, Alzari Joseph.
Should be a couple of runs, or has it got enough legs to go to the boundary? Yes, it does. Lovely piece of timing.
That's a very good shot. And that's the highest run partnership, 30. That's the highest so far in the innings. Can you imagine? Alzari looking really well. Yesterday he spoke to the media and said he really wants to develop as an all-rounder.
Well, it's certainly showing there's no mug with the bat. He's played some beautiful shots. Or maybe he's just asking to be sent a little bit earlier. He's moved quickly to 16 or 14. It's 119 for 8.
এলো দারুণ মশলাগুলোর এক্সাইটিং মিশ্রণে তৈরি ম্যাগি মশালা ব্লাস্ট।
লাইফে ব্লাস্ট 2 মিনিট জাস্ট।
ম্যাগি খুশির রেসিপি
From Nestle.
কোয়ালিটি আর টেস্টে ভরসা একটাই, বিস ক্লাব ড্রাই কেক। কিছু সম্পর্কে মিষ্টি ম্যাজিক বলিয়ে দেয় দূরত্বের লেয়ার, ঠিক যেমন দুধ আর চকলেটে একাকার হয়ে ওঠা ব্রাউন লেয়ার। সম্পর্কের মিষ্টি ম্যাজিক।
যে কোনো সময় যে কোনো জায়গায় ব্যাংক থেকে বিকাশে অ্যাড মানি করুন কোনো খরচ ছাড়াই।
দেশের সবচেয়ে বেশি সংখ্যক ব্যাংক থেকে নিমেষে টাকা আনুন বিকাশে।
ভীষণ কুড়মুড়ে গোলমার পচ বিস্কুট একটু জায়গা বুঝে
Come through some bold strikes, some sensible batting.
Ranve, all out
Don't just be
koi
overawed by the situation. The very refreshing attitude between these two batsmen here. Some good bowling interspersed here by Shakib Al Hassan. He's been very accurate, not getting the ball turned as much as he did in the previous game, but just depending on those variations very nicely. It must be a little relief, Vish, with this player at least putting up a fight.
Depends on how high your standards are, Sharon. But Alzari Joseph has shown great application to his game all round, but more so his batting in the last couple of seasons. I think he averaged over 100 in the last first-class season. He got a lovely half-century in New Zealand at Hamilton. So he's a cricketer who's building an all-round game. One off the over, 120 for 8.
রোজ রোজ ভাত
তেল পেঁয়াজ আর ভাতের সাথে মিলে ম্যাজিক্যালি তৈরি করবে ফ্রাইড রাইস। এলো ম্যাগি ফুজিয়ান ফ্রাইড রাইস সিজনিং মিক্স।
What a surprise! ছিল ভাত হলো ফ্রাইড রাইস।
ম্যাগি ফুজিয়ান ফ্রাইড রাইস সিজনিং মিক্স, চাইলেই ভাত হবে ফ্রাইড রাইস।
Nestle, good food, good life.
যার যেমন পছন্দ নিমেষেই তৈরি মজাদার বসুন্ধরা নুডলস, ইয়াম্মি স্বাদে পুষ্টির বাহার।
It's a fight back. They needed this. Mr. Fizur Rahman has been very parsimonious with his figures. 1 for 11 of 6. Well, very tentative with that shot.
It's a good field set though, because with the angle of Mustafizur across Joseph, and of course we've known over the years the supple wrist of Mustafizur to put revs on the ball and bowl that cutter, brings that man in there at a short slip position, maybe a fourth slip into play if he goes hard at it. They have to look to bat out the overs though, that's the key thing.
Wow, once again, just not reading the little bit of grip that he gets, touches that he manages somehow even at his pace. He's going at quite pacey now. Tentative.
Look at the wrist. For those of you who haven't seen a lot of him, many of you know about Mustafizur, but you could see the wrist pulling down the outside of the ball, the fingers pulling down the outside and producing that traction. You see, there we go. That's the smartness of the field set. Superb captaincy, excellent bowling by Mustafizur to his field.
Yeah, baited the batsman there. Just the way you could feel it coming, and all credit to talking about the field placement. The gully was not too deep. It's about the fourth slip and the gully position, anticipating that guide from the batter Alzari Joseph. Just fell into, just got sucked into that, and made it simple for Liton Dash to take that catch. Well, they needed to carry on, but unfortunately they've lost the wicket. He seemed to be going well, but he's gone for 17 now. 120 for 9.
একটা তোমার আরেকটা ভাইয়ার। ভাইয়া স্কুল থেকে ফিরলে দিবে।
আমারটাও
আমাদের
আমাদের সাথে আপনার সম্পর্কটা হোক এমন ভরসা সিটি ব্যাংক দিন।
After a little bit of a fight back, the West Indians have lost their 9th wicket. Last man in, Akil Hussain, possibly have more to do with the ball than with the bat, but he'll be hoping that he'll give Powell some company in the middle. He's in the middle because of this. Yes, the way Mustafizur Rahman, cutter master, getting it to bounce maybe a shade higher and getting the upper part of the bat. Tally fielder Liton Dash. Just you see, he didn't read the length. He's sort of half stepping forward, then had to check his shot and glided into the safe hands.
Managed short mid-wicket for this delivery. Off slip as well as a deepish gully in there as well. Will he be looking to attack the pads and the stumps? Formats in the last year and a bit in which his play hasn't been great, but for Akil Hussain, look, I understand very well. These guys, some of them didn't expect to be here until a few weeks ago. And what I've tried to emphasize all along is the work that needs to go into batting development in the Caribbean. So I'm not angry with them. I'm just trying to point out how they must improve, one, their mindset, and what help can we give to them? What help can what help can we as past players give to them?
That begs the question. Once they're back, they will be feeling that the top-rung cricketers will be back to make themselves available for the international arena. Now, how does that affect their thought process in getting the confidence that when will they get a chance again? It's, awkward situation. Talk about that. End of the over, 129, 20 for 9.
দেশের জন্য একটু ভালো কাজ করে হলেও একজোট করা আমাদের দায়িত্ব। আসুন বাংলাদেশের 50 বছরের পরিরক্ষণে দেশের জন্য একযোগে কাজ করি আর তা ছড়িয়ে দিই ইন্টারনেটের শক্তিতে।
এসএমসি রোড স্যালাইন কেনার সময় ব্যাকের গায়ে এসএমসি লোগো দেখে কিনবেন।
এসএমসির ওর স্যালাইন।
20 for 9, Bangladesh doing a really good job, as you would expect with their experience. An inexperienced opposition is learning some lessons, and I'll answer your question if we get the chance. I think, Shamin, though, when these guys, young, not necessarily young, but inexperienced guys go back, particularly the younger ones, it is a challenge when senior players are in a team. But that, I think, is the crucible. It is the crucible of where good players are formed. Come back to it. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by that? Well, when the more established players are playing in the Super 50, it means then that you, the younger player, has to lift your game, and you really have to break down the door by excellent bowling or batting in order to displace those guys. So you're out of your comfort zone. And I think, Shamin, that's a good thing. It means that you're not getting an easy ride into the team, which has happened in times past. You have to be better than the guys who are there to get in, and that is the way it always should be. It should not be watered down.
Absolutely, and that's the point I was trying to make by asking you that question, because we're talking about fast-tracking people in, which should be avoided at all costs. has it happened here? We've seen that happen, and they've just, after a couple of games, not performing well, not being able to adjust to the requirements of the international arena, and suddenly they're dropped. And I feel it's a little unfair on some of the players, but bringing them in too early. And that's what we've been talking about in the previous stint also. This is one way of looking at it, that the opportunities have been given to these youngsters on this tour. They've got to make the best of it.
Yeah, I think there is going to be, and that's where good selectors come into play. Akil was saying, I'll put the word on the name. He shapes up. You can see why he has a first-class 100. He's coming in at 11, but he shapes up well. But he's underperformed with the bat domestically for me. He's a better player than that. Competent. There's a lot to work with. Yeah, look. Your selectors, it's an average of 11, but he should be doing much better. Your selectors, wherever you are in the world, India, Australia, England, South Africa, wherever, have to be critical parts of your developmental process. Because they have to see beyond numbers and see what potential is there. Otherwise, you can put anyone to sit at Cricinfo and they can pick the top 5 batsmen and put them in a team. It's more than just the numbers. It's what you see technique-wise, what you can glean from the mentality of the player. And you have to see what other people don't see. So I don't mind a player being fast-tracked, provided that you see something in that guy who can go on to be a Shakib, a Lara, a Steve Smith, or someone like that, or Virat Kohli.
Just leaving aside the pandemic period, I mean, this has been a period where the selectors have been forced to not really give their 100% effort as professionals. And we'll come back to it in the next over. Another little question for you is that how involved on a regular basis do the selectors need to be? At different age level cricket, I mean, we have different selectors for age level cricket. Should that be different, or should that be working together with the seniors? Answer in the next over. 39 done. 1, 2, 3 for 9.
এইটা নেন তোমাদেরকে লেবুর গুরুত্বটাই বুঝাতে পারলাম না
ত্বকের জন্য লেবু যে কতটা গুরুত্বপূর্ণ তা বুঝতে আমরা মেরিল পেট্রোলিয়াম জেলি তৈরি করেছি লেবুর নির্যাস আর ভিটামিন সির গুণ দিয়ে। তাই ত্বকের সম্পূর্ণ সুরক্ষায় ভরসা রাখুন শুধু মেরিল পেট্রোলিয়াম জেলিতেই। আনারসের দারুণ স্বাদে বিস ক্লাব দিচ্ছে ফ্রুট ফান ক্রিম বিস্কুট। ভালো খান, ভালো থাকুন।
Bangladesh winning by 6 wickets. They stroll to victory. They'll get better Bangladesh as they go along. Last ball of the previous over. From around the wicket again. Scramble seam. Good pace on it. Straightening. And that's where Hassan Mahmood, if he has the proper diet, if he gets the right advice from the academy, from Otis Gibson, from the coaches, has great potential as he gets stronger, smarter. Because as I said in that first game, if Bangladesh are to win overseas more often, they've developed into an excellent white ball team. But red ball cricket, they need fast bowlers to supplement the batsmen and the spinners.
Well, rather airy-fairy, not the wisest option. Maybe Powell thinking that I try to garner a few runs. Doesn't have the confidence on Akil Hussain, but you just mentioned Akil has got a domestic 100, so he should be realizing that.
This is a critical delivery that made Mustafizur successful in white ball cricket in his early years. He slides it into leg stump with that cutter, and the ball deviates from leg stump to off stump.
Oh,
brilliant! And so what happens, Shamin, is that the ball starts tracking down, not necessarily in a blind spot, but just on about leg stump a lot of the time. And when the batsman, as we've seen in T20, looks to hit it into the onside, the deviation then brings the outside edge into play. So at his best, Mustafizur can be a handful. Free hit coming up. So now Rovman Powell can line up and have a dip.
Not often we see Mustafizur Rahman overstepping, and that's quite a big one. They're trying to put a little extra into their effort in the previous delivery. The third umpire is now calling the no ball, so there he goes, anticipating that. And possibly a no ball again. Oh, goodness gracious.
I wonder if Mustafizur was trying to get a Yorker. Powell gave him a good sighting of the stumps very early, so Mustafizur had enough time to maybe change his line to leg stump. It was a free hit, remember that.
Moves again, makes room on the onside. Tonks it away, but does not time it. Scampering through. There's a free hit, so he had the license to really go anywhere he wanted. But unfortunately not from the meaty part of the bat. He seems pretty happy with what he is doing at the moment, enjoying himself in the middle. Mustafizur cutters today, look at him. Some of them pitching outside leg stump. The variation of length has been exemplary, and he's just used that angle, natural angle, very well. He comes wide on the onside, and little grip that the ball gets. Sometimes it grips like that, sometimes it doesn't. That's why the seed of doubt in the batsman's mind, whether to go for it or leave it.
Yeah, he's a good bowler, and now he's getting the new ball to swing back because his wrist position is slightly more upright. He can do better with it. And that slingy action at the end and the cutters makes him a really effective bowler. I want to show you something. If we last another over, Shamim, I want to show you something in the next over. And for our viewers, that intrigues me. Mustafizur goes around the wicket. Yeah, I'm looking at Akil Hussain. If they freeze it there, forget the no ball. I'm looking at Akil Hussain. What I want to teach my young players is when you're at the non-striker's end, why are you looking down the road? You should be looking at the bowler, having a glance at him to see when he's released the ball. Some guys will be looking at the front foot. I know some batsmen who look at the front foot so that you can see when the ball is released and then look down the other end. Too many batsmen take a lazy option and don't look at the bowler releasing the ball and break the crease early.
Very good point. I think even when you're at the non-strikers end, you see the release. You actually prepare yourself when you're at the other end and facing the guy who's bowling those deliveries. So from close in, you're getting the perfect view. Maybe a little side on, but you see the grip of the bowler. You see if the seam is upright, what the ball is doing. Next ball, you see a scrambled seam and see what the ball is doing then. And you prepare yourself. Absolutely right. Very good point. Obviously, you make very good.
Yeah, they're just double checking that at the moment. No, they're saying no. They're saying they got the count right. The goal is for Akil and for Powell to just bat out the overs, take what is given to them.
Last segment of power play. We have 5 fielders outside the 30-yard circle. At the moment, you can see pressure being created by Tamim Iqbal with just the 3 boundary riders. Well, that's just rather silly. Didn't have to do that at all. That is the problem. Rush of blood, unnecessary shots attempted. Could have gone wrong completely.
I'm assuming that this is where Rahman Powell should be having a word with Akil Hussain and say, mate, we've got 9 overs and 4 balls possible to come.
It's not that Akil Hussain hasn't got the strokes. He's got the defensive shots, as we saw in the previous over, lining himself up very...
Straight left of your screen, that there's an easy single if he gets back on it.
Wide given down the leg side, so this young Hassan Mahmood, maybe his captain should have a little bit of chat with him, because he's seems to be trying too many different things in the over. Just as a bowler also, you need to be patient.
Yeah, you're right, Shani. I think one thing you have to remember is that he's 21 years of age. And so at 21, you sometimes think I should be getting a wicket every over. To Gibson, that hey, at this level, that doesn't happen. So he's 21, I love what I see, and we need to give them time. It's another couple of years at least before he starts understanding the requirements.
I had to wait for that little quake cross and had to scramble through to complete the run. 5% Shanto took made a run out earlier. And now, Akil, just tell yourself, respect the good ball if it comes along. If there's one long hop to be punished, then obviously you go for it. It's a missed timing completely. For the big hit over mid-wicket. Well, he's thrown the bat at it and not timed well enough. But some runs to finish off, a couple of runs. End of 41, 132 for now.
একটা তোমার আরেকটা ভাইয়ার ভাইয়া স্কুল থেকে ফিরলে দিবে আমারটাও
আমাদের সাথে আপনার সম্পর্কটা হোক এমন ভরসার সিটি ব্যাংক 3 প্রজন্ম ধরে আপনার ভরসার ব্যাংক
Just a few names to remind our viewers of guys who aren't here. 1 or 2 would have been in the test squad only. Many of those would have been in this one-day squad. Shamar Brooks, test specialist. The rest of the guys perhaps would have been in the one-day squad had they elected to come. So we have to understand and be sympathetic in a sense to some of the guys who are here. But when you can get all of these guys on the park, if you can get all of this group with one or two from here on the park, it's a competitive team. Puran, I think, is someone who can go on to be excellent. Shimon Hetmeyer as well, captain that under 19 team here. Evan Lewis is a good player. Shea Hope, outstanding one-day player. Outstanding. Kyron Pollard, dangerous players, had a good year of white ball cricket. Jason Holder, lots of experience and increasing skill. Darren Bravo with work to do. Sheldon Cottrell, very good new ball bowler. So when you can get all these guys in the right mental space and playing together, it's a good team to work with.
Well, the list we saw, which contains players mostly who pulled out for COVID reasons. There are a couple of others, Shane Dowrich and Fabian Allen, who pulled out because of personal reasons. So there's quite a few things that have gone into players pulling out. Unfortunate, I must say, it's unfortunate for even the Bangladesh team and not playing with the strongest West Indian 11. They'd have liked that challenge. They've done well against a full team, but it's one of those things we've got to take it and carry on, I suppose.
I look past that, Bangladesh don't want any sympathy, because in days gone when they lost the record 21 games in Test cricket and 23 one-day games consecutively, people weren't having any mercy on them. They've developed now Bangladesh to the point where in white ball cricket, they're very competitive. Very competitive. Test match cricket at home, they're good. They're not an easy target. Away, there's work to do. So Bangladesh is just doing what they need to do against what is put in front of them.
Yeah, that's all right. But you see, the point I was trying to make is that because, as you mentioned, we are a very strong unit. They've made a name for themselves. They're up in the ICC rankings, even over the West Indies and a couple of other teams. So a stronger opposition would test them coming out of this long period of hiatus, 9 months, and see, feel the strength and give them the courage and the determination to carry on, even if it didn't work out for them. A true test seems to be a lot easier with this opposition, sorry to say.
Well, it is what it is. And the point I'm trying to make to you is that when Bangladesh weren't a great force, people did not have mercy on them.
I understand that.
So they're doing what they need to do, building to New Zealand, building to tougher challenges ahead. It is what it is, unfortunately.
Set 42 overs completed. West Indies have moved on to 135 for 9.
ফ্রাইডেতে শ্রিম্প ম্যাগি স্যাটারডেতে ভেজিওয়ান মঙ্গল বুধ বৃহস্পতি সুপি এক টম ইয়াম সানডে মানডে ম্যাগি চিকেন
ম্যাগি মানে ভিন্ন স্বাদে প্রতিদিন।
From Nestle.
The resistance has been there for the West Indies team, which is good to see. Akhil Hossain is holding fort along with Powell, 36 of 60. He's the one who's taking this West Indies flag ahead, ensuring that they just don't crumple. Rovman Powell. Yes, he's more of the experience between the two players, and he's clearly showing that skill. Hassan Mahmood into his 9th, picked up a wicket. It's nice. It's nice to see the West Indies ready to put in that grind, ready to fight it out. It will help them. Yes, the top order hasn't performed, hasn't lived up really to what's expected of them, or could have been a better performance. At least not they're putting the guns down without a fight. But to be fair, Atha, I think the bowling has been good again from Bangladesh.
Spot on, Anju. They've been very good, very disciplined, very consistent and good line and length in the business area all the time, creating that pressure. It made life difficult for the West Indies batting lineup. He must be a very pleased man, Tamim Iqbal. Early days as a skipper. And he'd be really finding the role of leadership a really good one. Because as a player, when you're given the added responsibility to lead the side, you would want everything to fall in the right places, and that's exactly what has happened so far. Also contributing with the bat, trying to lead from the front, and he's an excellent player. A very good track record. Started a career, showed a lot of flamboyance, but as he has grown older, he's matured in the way his approach in batting. He takes a little bit more time. He knows the He's been a very attractive player, attractive to watch, and I'm just waiting to see similar kind of form as a skipper. High hopes on him. And we'll be hoping that they can pick up the last wicket as quickly as possible. Windies move on to 140 now.
Choose the call again. He's going for it. He's going for the second. He has to be quick. Throw was good, but Hussain was better, up to the challenge.
Yeah, good running. Once he hit that in the vacant area and it was aerial, he knew the second was on. So he had to take the first run very hard and came back nicely. Good piece of fielding in the deep, right on top of the whales, and he was well in.
I like the confidence on his face. He knew he was running in for the second and danger end. But just the manner, the composure he showed in completing that too. He knew that he was in control. Good to see. Very healthy. Good signs for Akhil Hussain. Outside edge. Will be a tough chase down at the third man region. Ball wins. IPDC 4. End of 43, 146 for 9. Nice thing, 146 for 9. They're bettering their score from the first ODI. West Indies, they were all on the 33rd over. 122 on the board for them. So this is definitely much better. Not only because they've got more than 122, but just the manner in which they've shown the positivity to be hanging around there, especially the tail enders. Trying to show that fighting power as well, just like that boundary in the last over.
Yeah, coming from the back of his hand. So he's showing the variety that he possesses. Hassan Mahmood, really good one. Yeah, it went to the boundary, but a really good delivery. Showing his skills as a bowler. Has been good. I'm just thinking why Rahman Powell has not batted up the order. He batted at number 7 in the first ODI, where he's scored 20 of 41. Today, set at number 8. And if you can see someone who shows signs of scoring runs and also spending time in the middle, you've got to give him more opportunities. He's got now 40 of 63 now. Was the skipper in the previous tour, remember that. So he's got that kind of experience, and I think lack of experience has shown in this side of West Indies. So you've got to use your experience, whatever you have.
The only thing that probably comes to mind is wanting to come back for 2 sent back. Good call from Akil Hussain. There's no room for taking any risk. 9 down already. Let's have a look on Akil Hussain. Yeah, good call. The only reason that comes to mind is probably when we look at the batting order of the West Indies. You know that there's an experience of Jason Mohammed there, there's a Rahman Powell. And you want them to be around largely, especially in the top order and then batting alongside the tail-enders. And so when you have to play around with just 2 recognized players or players who had further more experience than the others in the dressing room of the international cricket, you just want to spread it out. That's probably one of the reasons I feel Rahman Powell isn't being sent higher up the order. Gone. Clear hint that he wanted to come down, attack the off-spinner. Mehdi Hassan, too good. He's well thought out the attack in Rahman Powell and picked up his 4th wicket.
Yeah, he's been excellent with the ball, Mehdi Hassan Miraj. He picks up his best figures in one-day internationals by picking up the 4th one in this fashion. Going for a big heave, extra bounce, that's the trick. Skip. Mushfiqur Rahim does the rest. Way down the wicket. West Indies bowled out for 148.
He's batted well and he's done a very good job. Personally, getting a good score of 41. West Indies finishing up their first innings at 148.
It's the first time Bangladesh have bowled out opponent for under 150 in 2 consecutive matches, the same series. That's the scorecard. 41 from Rahman Powell gave them some sort of stability in the lower order. I still feel he needs to bat up the order. Couple of 20s there, but not much from the top order. And in the end, only could manage to score 148 in 43.4.
Yeah, 4 wickets in the previous game for Shakib. This time, there was Mehdi. Never allowed partnerships to come through. Needed at the top some more dominance by the openers. Omlet, the debutant, did come in stronger, but did have enough partners to ensure that the partnership keeps going on. Very good bowling performance for you personally. Are you happy with what you went out to achieve or want more the next game?
Yes, I'm really happy for that because last match I'm not doing well in the right area. So I discussed with our bowlers, specialist, our captain, and Sakib Bhai. He just tell me he's just going to right area ball, and another specialist, thanks to our coach of spin Sohail Khan. I just talk about with him because I just information on one thing. He just try to good area and just top up ball. So I just try to that type of ball. So I am the success.
Very, very good, Mehdi. Just talk me about this last wicket of Rahman Powell. You saw him coming because you got that extra bit of bounce from the pitch.
Yeah, I saw he just coming fast. That